To chew on the Lunchroom on RCI, Monday to Friday, 12:45 to 2 p.m. The Lunchroom, informative, enlightening, provocative, engaging. The Lunchroom on RCI, food for thought. The station that gives you, more lunch.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. It is Friday, January the 12th, 2024, and this is program number 1117 of the Lunchroom. I'm your host, Calix George Jr. Now, in addition to 101.1 FM radio, you can also get us at our website. It is rcistlucia.com. We are also streaming live on Facebook. Just search for the official page of Radio Caribbean International. And, of course, be sure to like and share that link as well, please, with your friends and family. The number to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, as you should know by now, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046. Don't hesitate to call. And as well, you can also reach us on our WhatsApp. It is 724-0008. Again, 724-0008. Some birthday wishes going out today to Miss Karina Altanor. Happy birthday to you, Karina, and we're wishing you an absolutely wonderful birthday. Hope you enjoy your very special day. Also, birthday greetings going out to Miss Michelle Gabriel. Happy birthday to you, and we do hope that you're having a fantastic birthday and a fantastic weekend. And also, Mr. Bertram Morissette, happy birthday to you, sir, and we're wishing you the very best of health, wealth, and happiness on your very special day. And some individuals born on this day include Nazi SS member Hermann Goering, as well as former president of South Africa under the apartheid era, P.W. Botha, and as well one of the world's richest men is born on this day, Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon. He turned 60 today. And a bit of history for today as well. In the year 1528, a number of crownings happened on this day for some reason. Gustav I of Sweden was crowned King of Sweden, and he ruled for 37 years, becoming known as the Father of the Nation. In the year 1554, Bayunang was crowned King of Burma and assembled the largest empire in the history of Southeast Asia. Also, more crownings in the year 1872. Johannes IV is crowned Emperor of Ethiopia, and that happened in Aksum. And that was the first imperial coronation in Aksum, in that city, in over 200 years. In 1948, on this day, Mahatma Gandhi began his final fast. And in 2010, right here in the Caribbean, a devastating earthquake wreaked tremendous loss of life and havoc in Haiti, in its capital Port-au-Prince, with approximately 160,000 people losing their lives in that earthquake on January the 11th, 2010. We now move on to our dish of the day. The Daily Dish is brought to you the kind compliments of our good friends at Tiles Plus.
One tiles for your room, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A+. There's all kind of tiles. Come down to Tiles Plus. We also got gasway and vanity. Box, doors, you'll see. Come down to my nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Last Road in Castries, Bosses Joux Grosile, and Flax Street in Vieux-Fort. Telephone number 453-7939. Tiles Plus.
Serving now, the Daily Dish.
And welcome back to our program for Friday, the last program for the week. And we do wish everybody a very safe and blessed Friday. Hope it's a good one. Unfortunately, in the community of Foaso Babono last night, some very unfortunate news coming from there. and that of our second homicide for the year 2024. And in fact, police are investigating that matter, where it appears that a young man in his 20s sustained gunshot wounds, and that happened somewhere around 8:40 yesterday evening. And of course, that is the second homicide for the year. We saw another one occurring somewhere in the Ravine Poisson, Castries Southeast area earlier on in the year. And unfortunately, this gentleman, Mr. Dante Setange, just 23 years old, has lost his life due to this very, very unfortunate situation, another shooting there. And we are at January the 12th, and within 12 days of the new year, we've already seen 2 homicides. Very unfortunate indeed, especially given what we have had to deal with over the previous year. And we've been seeing a fairly high number of homicides being experienced in St. Lucia, as well, of course, as across the Caribbean. Some of those figures, in terms of just the gross numbers, Jamaica with nearly 1,400 homicides for the year 2023. Trinidad and Tobago, also a very elevated number with somewhere around 576 for that year. Bahamas at 109, and then St. Lucia coming up. Well, also Guyana with 133, St. Lucia with 75 homicides, St. Vincent and the Grenadines 55, Belize 86 homicides there. But of course, for want of comparison, you generally would have to measure that against the population, and homicides are generally measured against the number of homicides for every 100,000 people in the population. And when that is done, when taking population into account, albeit one can say it really is still an estimate, depending on how accurate the population counts are. But based on the most recent of such, it would mean that St. Vincent seems to have the highest rate in the Caribbean, somewhere around 52 homicides for every 100,000 people living there. And of course, you would recall St. Vincent has a population of about 120,000, I believe. And so that gives you some perspective there. Jamaica, with a population of nearing 3 million, somewhere I think about 2.8 million or thereabouts. It gives a murder rate of 49 murders for every 100,000 people. And then St. Lucia would be coming in ranked third in that list with 41 homicides for every 100,000 people. So in fact, our homicide rate seems to be even higher than that of Trinidad and Tobago, with their homicide rate of about 37 for every 100,000 people. Population, again, roughly in the region of about 1.2, 1.3 million people. Bahamas comes in at 26 per 100,000. Belize, 20 per 100,000. And Guyana, 16 per 100,000. We do see that there are other areas in the Caribbean where generally speaking, the homicide rates don't seem to be too bad. You can think of maybe places like Grenada and Antigua, for instance. But we have seen in some of the small islands, because of the small populations, if things in fact do flare up, you can very, very easily move to having a very high rate of homicides. That happened in the case of St. Kitts and Nevis some years ago, where in the capital there was a west side and an east side, and it led to a tremendous amount of bloodletting and the loss of life there. So certainly we would like to believe that we can make a break away from this very unfortunate trend of violent crime in St. Lucia. But it is clear that we still have some ways to go to be able to actually curb this issue of crime as it is right now. So lots more to be done, and it's really a lot of different moving parts that has to come together to be able to achieve that. Of course, we always think, immediately when you think about crime, we think about the police and what are the police doing, and of course ensuring that there are resources available for the police to not just solve crimes, but also hopefully by solving crimes and allowing people to see that, look, the police has the ability to bring people to justice, to bring them into the court system. And that is, of course, another major sore point, the length of time it takes for cases to be heard. And it's not really just an issue about court space. I don't think we have really seen justice not being done because of court space. A lot of it has to do maybe the capacity, the number of judicial officers, the number of judges that are available. In the case of St. Lucia, of course, we are part of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court space, and which runs the Court of Appeal and the High Court of St. Lucia. And I think there are about 3 judges in the criminal division for St. Lucia. The question is, with the number of homicides that we see, the number of cases that we see, it's going to take a lot of resources. You just imagine every case like that, a capital crime, you need to have a jury. You've got to get your jury pool. You've got to be able to, ensure that those things can happen in a timely manner. It takes some time to do that in some instances, and you, of course, need to have the prosecution capacity to do it as well. Has also been another major bottleneck in our judicial system. Ensuring that we have enough prosecutors, ensuring that we can investigate fast enough. We are seeing some good progress being made by way of forensic science here in St. Lucia. Of course, our forensic science laboratory has in fact become internationally accredited, which is certainly a significant achievement. And we have heard of the support being provided by the United States authorities regarding upgrading that capacity there even further, so that it can in fact be a center of excellence in the Caribbean for forensics. And that is really important when it comes to solving crimes, when it comes to dealing with a lot of these matters. So it is, of course, as I said, a number of these various institutions and agencies which have to all gel together to ensure that justice is served. And we also have to be thinking about the broader environment within which many of these people find that kind of lifestyle, who may be engaged in killing for hire, who may be engaged in reprisal killings, which lead to this rampage that we're facing right now in terms of homicides. And so it certainly does mean that we've got to be thinking, how do we create a more peaceful society? How do we inculcate in our young males, young boys, a more peaceful way of settling matters? And there's been a lot of theories and suggestions and analyses, research into criminology and why people behave the way they behave. And yes, a lot of times people will say that when you have a high degree of inequity in the society, you find that violent crime is more prevalent. And so equity in society is, in fact, very, very important. And so having these common goods, common services, things like universal healthcare, things like universal education, all of these things are very, very important if we are planning on looking at a more peaceful society in the long run. So let's hope that we can continue to make some progress in that regard in the year 2024. That's our dish of the day. When we come back, we will be taking in some calls.
This has been The Daily Dish.
One tiles for your home, I see. Bathroom, kitchen, pantry. Need tiles for your balcony. Come down to Tiles Plus, satisfaction guarantee. Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus, Tiles Plus. Big tiles with unbeatable cost. Customer service, A plus. With all kind of tiles, come down to Tiles Plus. We also black, that's why and vanity. Box, doors, you'll see. Come down, don't mind nobody. We got the best tiles on island. Trust me. We are located Land Street in Castries, Bosses Grozile, and Flag Street in Beaufort. Telephone number 453-7939. Tiles Plus.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. And of course, the number to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, it is 4523046, 4523046. And you can also call in to 724-0008. Again, 724-0008. Now, there was an interesting clip circulating, and it was I suppose somewhat trying to make some jest of the Prime Minister on the matter of custody suites. And the PM made a statement in response to questions about ongoing construction, of course, to re-establish custody suites. And I believe we do have that clip available. I'm not sure if we can source that somehow, Hyper. But it was the PM speaking on the challenge that the police were facing in actually, having to arrest individuals and detain them. And of course, you know how that will work. Police can detain individuals for up to 72 hours without actually putting forward charges. And that tends to happen within a police setting, a police station, and in some instances, having custody suites, so a place where you would actually hold people in custody for a period of time before they may either be released or they may be sent to on remand to the Bordelais Correctional Facility. And you would recall what occurred with respect to custody suites. It was, in fact, demolished sometime, I think, around 2021 or thereabouts. And since that time, it has certainly been a significant challenge with respect to actually keeping these individuals in custody. It has therefore meant that the police have to be utilizing various stations all around the island. And this is what the PM was speaking to. So let's just take a quick listen to this clip. And that clip, in fact, and you obviously can't see it, but it actually ends by suggesting that the PM is a madman. The Prime Minister is a madman for making that kind of statement. It's interesting that we're ascribing that matter, because the insanity, in my view, really comes from the idea of demolishing a facility which was in use, which was needed by the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, by our justice system, to be able to ensure that you could, in fact, hold persons who have been detained, and not having that facility available, demolishing it, and not having a replacement before you go about demolishing it. Now, that I think is where we can speak of certain levels of questionable action, and if you even want to ascribe insanity to it, perhaps so. And this is the unfortunate situation that we've been finding ourselves in terms of public policy. Sometimes public policy has very, very often, public policy has very critical implications for the lives of people, the lives of people who are supposed to act in our interest, and including the police. And so if we are not even providing the police, or in fact taking away the resources and assets from the police, which they need, and not ensuring before we take it away that we've actually provided them with better or with alternatives, or at least something comparable, then that is very, very unfortunate. And this is really the situation that has befallen the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, and which of course means that the government has now had to engage in construction of rehabilitating and expanding what are the police offices, the historic police offices on Bridge Street, to be used for the purpose of creating a custody suites. And this, of course, is where we have to see the situation with the police right now being very, very difficult. They don't have a proper headquarters as it is right now. We've known the issue with those buildings for quite some time. Of course, in addition to not having the headquarters, we saw as well the police barracks were demolished, and we were promised the construction of a new police headquarters. That doesn't seem to have occurred. And of course, now to try to get all of that back and running. Of course, we also know projects like the Grosley Police Station, which is being put up to the level of a divisional headquarters, finally getting going and construction happening there. So it is certainly a very sad state of affairs when we know that there is pressure, we know that there are issues, and we can still, and we're seeing situations where we're destroying and taking away resources which the police actually require. Let's take a call at this time. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Lunchroom. What's on your plate today?
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, caller. How are you doing?
You said St. Vincent had them highest murder rate with 52. No, it was good. It was St. Kitts and Nevis.
Oh, I missed that one. Okay.
56, according to Harris, the former Prime Minister.
Oh, really? 56?
Yeah, and he said St. Kitts had the highest in the Caribbean in the world, because he was actually crying when he was.
He said that St. Kitts had the highest in the
Caribbean
world.
In the world.
And
because he was actually crying, because he was asking that they start coming together to see what they can do to solve the crime problem, because it's very high and you just cannot take it anymore.
Mm-hmm. And it, like I said, it's so very easy in a country of like less than 50,000 people. For you to have, 0.5 of a homicide will give you one already. So yeah, you can see how just 20 homicides will put you really high up. Yeah. And of course that's the plight of small island developing states like ours. Yeah. But it still is a good barometer to look at because really in such a small space we should not be seeing so many homicides.
But
In
the
places,
murder rate in San Jose was high at 75. But when I listened to the data on the lower part of the year, it had gone down.
well, yes, it was lower than
Yes.
the second half of the year seemed to have been lower than the first half. So, and remember, if we were just basing it on the first half of the year and the rate we were going in the first couple of months, like the first 3 months,
Yes.
which is where we saw that major spike in VA4,
Yeah.
if that rate had continued,
Yeah.
we were actually looking at about 100
Yes.
homicides for the year. So thankfully, it did come down somewhat in that in the latter half. So let's hope that it is going to come down even more
Yeah,
for this current half.
I have to admit, the police and them are making strides, because to me they are, they get, look, this guy that was killed just they already got the person who killed him.
Yes,
Yes, and so yeah.
yes,
And
definitely.
I need to thank Wasco, because remember I called you and I told you there was no water for the whole day and half of the day, and the phones had not been working for 2.5 months. But when I did call, somebody picked up and answered, and then I spoke to them. I told them we had no water for the day. So this lady, she a young lady, she explained everything. She told me this excavator had done some damage to the main where the CBC apartments were, so they were doing some works. But she took my name and my number, and she told me she was going to call me back for when they opened the pipe. And true to her word, she actually called me back to tell me that the pipe is open and my water is coming.
Okay,
And and her name is Charlene.
okay, wonderful.
Yeah, Charlene. She was very, very nice, so I was very grateful because, as I said, most times when you call them, in fact, most of the time you call on the control room, there's always somebody that picks up and gives you explain to you what is going on, and at least give you an idea of when the water will be back. So I always needed to.
Well, I'm glad you continued to call, and I'm glad you got through, and the matter
I did get through, and
seems to have been
everything's fine.
resolved. So, great stuff.
I need to ask one a question. How is it that you can spend $500 million on roads, and I think roads started about late 2019, and yet we have so many roads that are so bad?
Yeah, that's a very good question, caller.
$500 million is
I mean, $500 million
million.
spent on roads, albeit depending on the type of road, you may very well be spending anywhere between $2 and $5, sometimes even $10 million per mile of road or per kilometer of road. Depends on the complexity of the road and whether there are a lot of structures, bridges, whatnot. But you would think, I guess, on that basis that you were saying, depending on the kind of roads you're fixing, $500 million spent. Yeah, you should certainly.
That's some countries' budget,
Yeah. I mean, for instance, the section of road between, the Castries Grosley Highway, that section which was done in the lead up to Cricket World Cup, so the dual carriageway section, effectively. So from Jamari going up to the VG roundabout and up to Shock. I think that at the time had cost somewhere around $25 million, right? So
5 million?
25 million.
5 million? Well,
so for about 2.5 kilometers of road, roughly, that means about 10 million. And that's for a dual carriageway. I mean, there were pedestrian bridges, there were roundabouts that were constructed. So if you look at that from that context,
the
walkovers, yeah. So I mean, you that is what you'll be talking about for that scale of investment. Now, you're saying $500 million, and I'm not sure that we saw any major arterial roads done under that money. There was a small extension, I think, remember, between Sandals and up to the Shock roundabout about there, just adding on another lane, right?
Humpy.
Yes, it was as well. there was the road that was done from Marisol into Grand Riviere and then to Union. I've never actually heard what the cost for that was. So it'd be useful maybe the Ministry of Infrastructure could provide some of the costings for some of these roads so that we could get an idea as to if $500 million was spent on roads, what are the roads? You know, what did they cost? Give us a sense of the value for money, and you know, so
and
we
the
can
road
get.
in Babono leading to what's his name, Ezekiel, leading to some forest or whatever it is. Some group.
Yeah, I think there were some roads done in the Chasse area. Yes, there was some construction began on the some roads going into the Marquis area, the Marquis
Yes,
Valley. I know I think it was the Laguerre Road. Yeah, I think there was some work that was done in the Laguerre area. So there was a road done there. Maybe a lot of others that we're forgetting, but I'm just saying that,
But if
yes,
you
$500
drive all
million
around the
is a
place,
significant amount of money. And I think the question is, how was it spent? Because you look at some of the critical links that you can see based on our traffic patterns, based on their importance. A lot of those roads did not get that kind of attention. And I also think, though, that even in that $500 million, probably they're also including the ongoing works for the Millennium Highway and West Coast Road project. That I think is upwards
that
of
was not
100.
funded by the UK and
Right, so that was funded
So-
by the UK
but
DFID.
that's not the money. The UK funded that for 40 million.
Well, remember, caller, we also spent $47 million on a bridge, right? The cul-de-sac bridge, river bridge. So, yeah. So some of these figures, when you look at these large sums on just one element, for example, caller, under the Disaster Vulnerability Risk Reduction Project, there was supposed to have been works on the ancillary to Venus Road.
Yeah.
And that is 12 kilometers of road. And that project was supposed to reinstate the road, and I would have thought that it would have brought it up to a standard at least to what it was before.
Yeah.
All right. And I mean, there were sections that were done fairly well. I mean, between Vanna and up to the Venus community that's in the where you have the Millet Primary School. Sorry, it's the Millet Primary School around that area there. But beyond that, up into the Venus Estate and down into Ancillary, in terms of the actual amount of pavement rehabilitated, not very much, and that costs like $20 million. So it is costly to make those investments, especially if you're doing it in difficult terrain where you have to do a lot of earthworks and retaining walls, maybe bridges as well. But it is a substantial amount of money, and I think maybe what a lot of people feel is that, hey, after spending that amount, we should have seen some appreciable difference to the roads that really matter to the majority of people. So, yep, agreed.
I don't think some of those contractors really care about what they. I think instead of looking for the lifespan of the road, some of them I think are looking for the lifespan of their account, their bank account, because you cannot tell me you're being paid to do work. The road, you have to drive on that same road, yet you do not give the value for the money you're getting. Come on, these people cannot be doing those things. You're driving around the place, since so much money was spent on roads, and yet so many places you drive around. I don't have to see. I can just be in a car driving around your place. You're going up and down like some seesaw. So many places you pass, and yet.
Well, and also the Ministry of Infrastructure has a very important responsibility to ensure that, in fact, contractors are delivering. They have a very important oversight responsibility.
And I think they don't do it. I think the Minister of Infrastructure, to every contractor you will hire, you have to people assess the work immediately. You don't have them constantly going on site to see what's going on.
It is normally the case. It should be the case.
People will do what they want. Come on, there's a lot of shabby work. Even right in the clearing, they do work, and the work was not even, it's still humpy. I mean, and you see guys, they're working, you see a whole lot of noise, a whole lot of movement, and yet at the end of the day, what do you get for that? Nothing.
Very unfortunate situation sometimes where we get ourselves. Yep, very true, caller. Thanks for that contribution. We're going to take a break for the weather report. And, of course, we're going to head across to our weather report at this time.
Island style, yeah. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah. We'll have to make the right choice. Island style. Whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island style. Oh, yeah. We make your dream come alive in Island style.
We have tiles and thin sets, mixes and ground. Everything you need to sort the house out. For the best price and the latest style. Take a little drive down to Island Style car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality, price, service, choice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Belarus, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Cass Street, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewfort Highway. So call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
This is Radio Caribbean International. It's now time for the weather news.
And also, of course, on the 1.1 is now time for the weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talent Bar. The forecast for St. Lucia Valley for the next 24 hours. Winds will be blowing from the east near 20 miles per hour or 31 kilometers per hour. With occasional gusts. The weather partly cloudy skies becoming cloudy at times with some scattered light to moderate showers. And there is an advisory in here which reads small craft operators and sea bathers are advised to exercise caution due to brisk winds and locally rough seas. Forecast for the Les Antilles, partly cloudy to occasionally cloudy with widely scattered showers. And the weather summary, 2-week shell lines moving southward over the region will cause cloudiness and scattered showers over portions of the Les Antilles during the next 24 hours. The Atlantic high pressure system will continue to generate moderate to brisk easterly winds across the Les Antilles during the next few days. And this was your weather report as of 12 noon today, presented by Island Style Talent Bar.
This has been RCI's Weather News. For more information, call the Weather Hotline at 454-3452. RCI 101 number 1.
Island Style, yeah. We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, yeah. We'll have to make the right choice. Island Style. Whoa. We got the time that will make you happy. Island Style. Oh yeah. We make your dream come alive in Island Style.
We have tiles and thin sets, mixes and ground. Everything you need to sort the house out. For the best price and the latest style. Take a little drive down to Island Style car.
We got the time to make you go. We got the time to make you say, quality, price, service, choice. It's all an Island Style.
Visit us at our showrooms in Belarus, Rodney Bay, on the John Compton Highway, Cass Street, and behind Ruby's Gas Station on the Library Viewfort Highway. So call us on 450-452 or 453-TILE. Island Style Tile and Bath. When you think tile, think Island Style.
And welcome back to the lunchroom here at Radio Caribbean International. And of course, the number to call in to tell us what's on your plate today, it is 452-3046. Again, 452-3046, as well as our WhatsApp number 724-0008. Some very interesting individuals born today. I was just looking at a list, and boxer Joe Frazier, who in fact defeated Muhammad Ali back in a fight in, I think it was supposed to be called the fight of the century in 1971. He was born on this day, as well as a very controversial radio personality, Rush Limbaugh. Of course, he was a major, well, I guess you could say advocate of President Donald Trump, or at least a lot of his Trump supporters would certainly follow him. And he, in fact, died back in 2021, but he was also born on this day, as well as another very interesting personality in media in the United States, Howard Stern, who is celebrating his 70th birthday today. Now, we were speaking a bit about roads just a while ago, and you can well understand the many concerns that people are experiencing, because we're on those roads very often to get back and forth, and you hear those figures and then you wonder, this doesn't add up. How could you end up spending $500 million and you feel like the roads are in a very deplorable state? And I think a lot of it has to do with how you, again, come to that issue of prioritize. Very, very early on, in fact, the former administration had been given a project which they had taken over for the upgrading of the Castries-Grosley Highway. This was a project which had already been funded by 2016. That is to say, there were loan agreements in place with the Kuwaiti Fund for Arab Economic Development, KFED, as it's the acronym is, as well as the OPEC Fund for International Development. And those two funding agencies had agreed to the upgrade of what is still today the busiest artery within our road network. And I think had the former administration simply just allowed that project to have gone forward, a lot of the concerns that we're facing today, we would not be facing, and people would certainly be feeling a little bit more comforted in terms of how money was being spent on roads. What we then actually ended up seeing is a situation where at the very last moment, I think in the year 2020, October or so of 2020, a rush to try to design a road on the go in the Rodney Bay area. And issues there, of course, as well, in terms of how that work is being done. Unfortunately, though, we have seen this has been on pause for a while now, and more than anything else, we really do need to see the upgrade of this Castries-Grosley Highway. It is a vital step. It may not be the solution that will bring us to 2040, all right, in terms of our traffic woes, but it certainly will be a major help in terms of dealing with the ongoing challenges of congestion, particularly within that Castries-Grosley conurbation, which of course is the engine of economic development in St. Lucia at the moment. And so it's really important that we see action being taken on this matter. And of course, the other supporting and feeder roads that link into that road as well, into many of these other suburbs, are also very important. And so, of course, the Beau Séjour Road, which is certainly at a point right now, urgently calling for attention, and not just to be patched, but really a complete rehabilitation. Let's take another call at this time. Good afternoon, and welcome to the Lunchroom. What's on your plate today?
Calling again on littering. We have a situation on the VG roundabout, where it appears they have dogs carrying garbage and stealing that garbage on that lawn, the roundabout itself.
Okay.
And I don't need to tell you that when somebody comes from that airport,
Right.
and that's the first thing that greets them, and the garbage stays there sometimes the entire day. You have people from CCC working at the cemetery. I'm not saying that's their job,
Mm-hmm.
but someone can call somebody and tell them, come and pick up that garbage. And the dogs that's doing that, try to get that dog impounded or something, but it looks real bad. And what sometimes I gather is that as if nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a myriad of people working at the government coming down that corridor every day, and that garbage stays there. I must say I've called about the garbage thing many times, be it here or Zenway or whatever. I can see there's an improvement. There are places where garbage stayed by the wayside for about months, 2 months, 3 months. I can see that there is an improvement. But they have two things: people being careless and throwing garbage, and two, the people that responsible for cleaning the place. You can see there's a lapse.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they can, do something about the people throwing the garbage, if they can do about it, but still try to get the garbage away from our main highways as soon as possible. It does not look good. You have the Japanese sponsoring ads for our garbage, cleanup campaign. That, to me, that's a foretaste. You have people come on the cruise ships, like the workers' crew, come in and pick up garbage all Balance Day. I mean, where's our pride? And the second item I have is with the management of the roads. When the roads are closed for repairs, or be it Wasco, or be it that company that does the roads, sometimes you go through a road and you drive miles only to find out the road is shut. They can put a sign there saying road closed at XYZ,
Right.
so no through road. Thank you.
Right. Thanks very, very much for that intervention, caller. Very much appreciated. And it is a major issue. And I personally have not seen the situation of the VG roundabout. Perhaps I'm paying too much attention to the road at that time. But it is certainly for other persons who may be passengers on a vehicle, they may very well be seeing what this caller is speaking of. And we definitely have to do a lot better. And the caller is very correct regarding this matter of road maintenance. These are, if you would like to call it that, these are scenic routes, right? These are critical routes for ourselves. We're passing on it as well. And it doesn't look good. It certainly needs better. And it's, in this instance, I'm a little surprised because, I know that CCC, for instance, has close to 300 workers, many sanitation workers. I'm not too sure that they generally do that area. Maybe they should be doing it. But definitely, in terms of those routes, how you actually ensure that you have persons who are responsible for clearing the verges and maintaining those areas is certainly very, very important. The other problem that, of course, was pointed out by the caller is that of dogs and the issue that we have with dogs. Now, of course, we've been a bit of a humorous take where we talk about many dogs heading to Canada for so that they're migrating, and we have a serious problem when it comes to the issue of stray dogs, and of course trying to ensure that those dogs are not on the road causing those types of issues, and they could be also causing other issues for wildlife, our biodiversity. So it is a major issue as well to look at that, and the role of municipalities, the role of local government in terms of that is really important as well. This is generally a local government responsibility in looking at having and maintaining pounds and programs to ensure that we have responsible, responsible systems in place for our animals. And I think, we definitely have a long way to go. There are institutions that are doing so pro bono. People are volunteering to help out. And a lot of these people, in fact, are coming from overseas as well, providing support. But we have a responsibility as well when it comes to, protecting our city, protecting our animals in this regard. So the issue of spaying and neutering and ensuring that we have programs in place to tackle this, that's also really, really important as well. But this is not just a castries issue. And many people have pointed out that in the Rodney Bay area, there is an issue of waste collection. It's not being done in many instances. You're seeing it being left over for far too long, and it's a question of whose responsibility is it? And we see it quite often passed on to somebody else. People expect Solid Waste Management Authority to do so. Some people will tell you, well, it's on private property and the individuals need to clear those properties for themselves. But we're not ensuring enforcement of that, right? In many countries, if you've got litter on your lawn, you're going to get a ticket. You're going to get charged for it. If you've got a derelict vehicle on your lawn or on your property and it's unsightly, you're going to get charged for it. In some instances, it gets picked up and you still get charged for it somehow. So it's a matter that certainly needs to be looked at. These are sometimes the small things that really do have a major impact on people's minds about a space when they see a lot of litter, a lot of unsightly areas, and so let's see how that can certainly be addressed. It is one thing to have some programs, which of course agencies like the SSDF, St. Lucia Social Development Fund, which run things like the STEP program, which do help, but those things tend to be seasonal. And so ensuring, especially having the capacity by the local governments to be able to deal with these matters is really important. And we certainly do have to feel for the Groseley Constituency Council, because I do know, whereas Castries Constituency Council has close to 300 or so staff, I don't think the Groseley Constituency Council has even 30 members of staff. And they have a very large area to cover. And they have lots of work. It's also a very prime touristic area, whether it's Rodney Bay, whether it's Groseley, whether it's Pigeon Point. You have people all over now, right? If we're seeing people in Choiseul, in Guyabois, talking about Airbnbs, we have Airbnbs all over the island now. And once you've got that, it means that your entire country really is. There's an expectation that your entire country needs to be up to a certain standard, and we definitely have to ensure it, not just for people coming in, but for our own health and safety, and for our own very good sensibilities as well. Now, that's all the time we have today here at the Lunchroom on Radio Caribbean International. We do hope that everybody can have a very safe and enjoyable weekend. We'll be back again, God willing, for another program on Monday. Hope you can join us for that. I'm your host, Alex George Jr., saying goodbye.